Hello everyone, Manny here. In today's video, we're going to be doing the installation for the Airtac SMC9 or GTP9 drum mag. So I'll go over exactly what the package comes with as well as the tools that you'll be using, and we'll go over the installation. So let's begin. So for the tools that you need, that's pretty simple to find. You'll need either a rubber mallet or a rubber hammer to push out the pins while you're hitting the pin punch. A 2mm, according to the website, a 2mm pin punch. A plastic prying tool. You don't want to use metal. I don't recommend it. I would use either a cell phone prying tool or a little sort of a guitar nail you could use as well to pry open some of the parts that you'll need to open up, because they're being retained by pins on the inside. And you'll also need a 2mm hex key. For this, I'll be using my screwdriver with the interchangeable tips. And that's pretty much all you need to make this happen. So for the package that I chose, it was the drum and adapter package from Airtac. The drum comes in a MP5 style drum mag, and I say MP5 because the actual top portion fits MP5 guns. I tried it on my VFC and it fit perfectly fine, as well as the actual HPA adapter. As you can see right here, it has the plug-in in the back for it, as well as a sort of a plastic retainer that'll go inside your gas mag that we'll be using in order to hold down the BBs, since there's no actual pressure from the spring that can hold down on it. And last but not least, you'll need a GTP9 magazine. I'm not sure if it'll work with the extended mag, but I wouldn't see why you would try to use that. The actual drum mag holds around 400 rounds, so it's a high cap drum mag. So all you'll need is a GTP9 gas mag, and that's pretty much it on what the package comes with, and the last pretty much item that you'll need to complete this. Okay, so to start off the installation, we'll first prep the actual gas mag as well as the adapter onto the gas mag, so that way we can place it on the actual drum mag itself. For that, what we'll need to do is ensure that the actual mag has no gas. So a good way to know that is just pushing the back of the actual valve, and it should release all the gas, and it should be pretty loose, so there shouldn't be any gas coming out. After that, you'll pull down on the bottom of the spring to remove the actual bottom plate. This is not going to fly out. There's an actual pin holding down to this portion, so we should be fine until we actually push that pin out. So there's 3 pins on this section. There's 1 right here, 2, and a 3rd one that's holding on to the spring. So we'll punch first the first 2 that I mentioned, and then we'll punch out the actual one that's holding down the spring. So for that, we'll get our hole puncher. Doesn't really matter from which side you start. The pins are smooth all the way, so there's no real retention other than tension. So we'll do that. There you go. This should come off pretty easily, but if it doesn't, you can use that plastic prying tool to kind of like wiggle it around. You don't have to really pry it open, but just to wiggle it around to loosen it up, since it's been under pressure for quite a while. You'll see either a gasket will stay inside or on the actual block itself. You won't need the block anymore, but the gasket you will. So we'll set the pins and gasket to the side. This portion is done for. Now for the next step is the actual pin that's retaining the spring. We have to remove that. For that, if you pull down the actual spring from the bottom, there should be a pin on the side, and in order to remove that pin, what you'll have to do is either use the screwdriver or the pin punch itself and push it down. Now you got to be careful. You don't want to lose this part, because if you want to convert back the actual magazine, then you'll lose it. Make sure you actually press down the spring itself, and it'll easily be pushed out. Now you want to be careful, release the tension, or it'll fly out open like it just did. And we'll set that aside. We no longer need these parts, but like I said, if you want to retain them, you might want to put them in a little Ziploc bag also. You also won't need this pin on the side, so you can also push that pin all the way out and set it aside. Like I said, you can use a actual Ziploc bag to put it away, as well as the bottom plate. You will need that. So first things first, you'll need the little actual 3D printed shield that'll retain the BBs. So with this portion that's cut off right here, you'll push that in, kind of like the high cap and mags, and push it all the way up, and that should sit itself well down there. Now the actual next step for that, we'll use the grab the adapter and the gasket itself. Now what you want to do is actually place the gasket, because if you put the gasket inside the actual magazine and then place the adapter into it, there might be an issue with it sealing appropriately, or it might be pinching the actual gasket itself. So you don't want to do that. Before I actually place the adapter, make sure you put the gasket down around that area right here, and it should look something like this. Now this gives you the chance to grab your silicone and spray it a little bit. One, that'll help with sealing, and not only will help with sealing, it'll prevent the actual gasket from drying up, and it'll make it easier since there's silicone. It'll make sure the actual adapter slides a little bit better than it would without it. So we'll make sure that gets sprayed well. Now that that's done, the way you want to apply the adapter is the gasket, or the actual adapter, or the connection for it, is going to be pointing to the rear of the actual magazine, with this hole which will feed the BBs into the actual gas mag itself. So we'll do that. Again, be careful. If you need to use more silicone to actually let it wiggle it in, then do that. So while I was trying to work with applying the adapter, I unfortunately realized that the pressure is too much, and I also rechecked the website, and it does say that you'll need a quick grip, like crimping tool, in order to push down and apply pressure while placing the pins back. Now, in order to do without having to worry about breaking something, you'll have to remove the top lip by pushing out the pin on the side, and that'll allow you to have more of a flat surface for the crimping tool to actually put and apply pressure. Once I did that, I was able to insert the actual pins into the hole, so that should help you with it. Unfortunately, I didn't see that. If not, I would have mentioned that in the tools section of it, but we'll keep working on this and placing those pins back, and then once I'm done with it, I'll go to the next step, which is applying the actual mag and adapter to the actual drum mag itself. So now that I was able to place back the pins into the magazine gas mag itself, now let's do a small test and make sure that there's no leaks whatsoever. You should have already placed back the actual lip that's on the top, so that way it actually seals correctly and there's no leak whatsoever. I have a little bit of air, so that way it doesn't burst out a bunch of air, and we'll see if there's any leaks. So right now pressure is through the line. As you can see, I'm pushing the valve in the back, and I hear no leaks whatsoever. So that's it for that. We have completed that portion of the actual magazine, of the gas mag itself. Now we can go into the next step, which is prepping the actual drum mag and setting up everything. Okay, so for the drum mag itself, there is a few screws and some pins that you'll have to remove. To start off, we'll get our hex key, and there are 2 screws on the, if you're looking at the drum mag itself, it will be on the left side that you'll unscrew. So we'll remove those 2 screws. Make sure not to damage these screws, because if not, you're kind of screwed. Haha, get the joke. Now that we've removed those 2 screws, we'll use our prying tool to pry off. Pretty much the front is easy to pry off, but then the rest has to be pried off by the actual plastic tool, because there's some pins on the inside that are retaining it. So we'll remove that, and as you can see, those metal pins are what retains the actual cover itself. So we will set that aside. There is a tool that feeds the BBs, or actually a plastic part that feeds the BBs. We'll pull that right off. But before you do that, there's 2 pins. These are basically flush pins also, so you can easily push that without using the hammer. You can push them out pretty easily. And actually, correction, they're not flush. They have some retention on the left side if you're looking at from the front, so you'll push it towards the left. If you're looking at the mag, you'll push it towards that side. So you'll remove those 2 pins, set them aside because you'll need them again. And then you'll remove this plastic part that you won't need anymore. Now that that's done, the only other thing that you have to do is set up the actual mag itself onto the actual plastic portion. Now, the one thing that you have to make sure is that you do not put too much pressure. This is pretty much thin plastic. It's not really aluminum. It doesn't feel like aluminum to me. So you got to make sure you actually push this in gently without any with not very much amount of force. So we'll do that, and then once I'm done with it, we'll come back. Just got to make sure that the holes align, these holes on the side align with these holes right here, so that way you can push the pins right in. If you have issues, try using some lubricant or some lube, so that way it eases its way into it. So let's do that, and then once I'm done with that, we'll come back and finish the installation. Okay, so now that I was able to put the pins in again one last time, remember to line up the holes correctly, so that way you don't damage the actual drum mag itself or the adapter. But what I noticed is that even though I push the pins through, the pins don't fully reach on the other side, so just take that in mind. It shouldn't be any issues. It should still feed the BBs perfectly fine without any problems whatsoever. Now, before we are fully done with this process, what we're going to want to do after that is test and see if there's any leaks. Again, just to make sure that all that vibration and all that hammering didn't cause any problems. So I have my line right here, and no problems whatsoever. And then to do something extra, I'm going to pull out my GTP9 and we'll test it. That looks freaking cool, freaking awesome. There you have it, guys. So that is pretty much it. That's the installation for Airtac's adapter for the GTP9 or SMC9, as well as the drum mag kit that it comes with it. I love this. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy it. I'll be making some gameplay video as well as a review on it, just to see how well it does overall. Other than that, let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions or ran into any issues while doing the installation, just throw a comment down below. I'm pretty good at reading the comments and trying to answer technical questions. Other than that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more videos like these. I enjoy making these, even though it takes me a little bit to make them. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and until next time.